Right. This is The School for Good and Evil, Chapter 2, Part 2, due to a camera error. Apparently, my camera stopped recording halfway through. I don't know why this is. So we're gonna try it one more time. Right. But here on Graves Hill, there was just one burly guard left, arms as big as Agatha's whole body, legs like chicken drumsticks. He kept himself awake by lifting a broken headstone like a barbell. Agatha bit into the last honey cake and looked out at the dark forest. Shiny blue eyes looked back at her. Agatha choked and dove to her bed. Slowly she lifted her head. Nothing there, including the guard. Then she found him, unconscious, over the broken headstone, torch extinguished. Creeping away from him was a bony, hunchback human shadow, no body attached. The shadow floated across the sea of graves without the slightest sign of hurry. It slid under cemetery gates and skulked down the hill towards the firelit center of Gavaldon. Agatha felt horror strangle her heart. He was real, whoever he was, and he doesn't want me. Relief crashed over her, followed by a fresh wave of panic. Sophie! She should wake her mother. She should cry for help. She should... No time. Feigning sleep, Callus heard Agatha's urgent footsteps, and then the door closed. She hugged Reaper tighter to make sure he didn't wake up. Sophie crouched behind a tree, waiting for the schoolmaster to snatch her. She waited and waited, and then she noticed something in the ground. Cookie crumbs, mashed into a footprint. The footprint of a clump so odious, so foul, it could only belong to one person. Sophie's fists curled. Her blood boiled. Her hands covered her mouth, and a foot booted her through her window. Sophie crashed headfirst onto her bed and whirled to see Agatha. "You pathetic, interfering worm!" she screamed, before glimpsing the fear in her friend's face. "You saw him!" Sophie gasped. Agatha put one hand over Sophie's mouth and pinned her to the mattress with the other. As Sophie writhed in protest, Agatha peeped through the window. The crooked shadow drifted into Gavaldon Square, past the oblivious armed guards, and headed directly for Sophie's house. Agatha swallowed a scream. Sophie wrenched free and grabbed her shoulders. "Is he handsome, like a prince, or a proper schoolmaster with spectacles and a waistcoat and—" Thump! Agatha and Sophie slowly turned towards the door. Thump, thump! Sophie wrinkled her nose. He could just knock, couldn't he? Locks cracked, hinges rattled. Agatha shrank against the wall, while Sophie folded her arms and fluffed her dress, as if expecting a royal visit. Best give him what he wants, without fuss. As the door caved, Agatha leapt off the bed and threw herself against it. Sophie rolled her eyes. "Oh, for goodness' sake!" Agatha pulled at the knob with all her might, but lost her grip. The door slammed open with a deafening crack, hurling her across the room. It was Sophie's father, white as a sheet. "I saw something," he panted, waving his torch. Then Agatha caught the crooked shadow on the wall, stepping into his broad silhouette. "There!" she cried. Stefan swiveled, but the shadow blew out his torch. Agatha grabbed a match from her pocket and lit it. Stefan lay on the ground, unconscious. Sophie was gone. Screams outside. Through the window, Agatha watched shouting villagers chase after Sophie as the shadow dragged her towards the woods. while more and more villagers howled and chased. Sophie smiled ear to ear. Agatha lunged through the window and ran after her, but just as the villagers reached Sophie, their torches magically exploded and trapped them in rings of fire. Agatha dodged the gauntlet of fire traps and dashed to save her friend before the shadow pulled her into the forest. Sophie felt her body leave soft grass and rake against stony dirt. She frowned at the thought of showing up for school in a soiled dress. "I really thought there'd be footmen," she said to the shadow, "or a pumpkin carriage at least." Agatha ran ferociously, but Sophie had almost disappeared into the tree. All around, flames speed higher and higher, poised to devour the entire village. Seeing the fires leap, Sophie felt relief, knowing no one could rescue her now. But where's the second child? Where's the one for evil? She had been wrong about Agatha. She'd been wrong about Agatha all along. As she felt herself being pulled into the trees, Sophie looked back at the towering blaze and kissed goodbye to the curse of an ordinary life. Farewell, Gevaldon. Farewell, low ambition. Farewell, mediocrity. Then she saw Agatha charge through the flames. "No, Agatha!" Sophie cried. Agatha leapt on top of her, and both were dragged into the darkness. Instantly the fires around the villagers were extinguished. They dashed for the woods, but the trees magically grew thick and thorny, locking them out. It was too late. "What are you doing?" Sophie roared, shoving and scratching at Agatha as the shadow pulled them into the pitch-black forest. Agatha thrashed wildly, trying to wrest the shadow's grip on Sophie, and Sophie's grip on the shadow. "You're ruining everything," howled Sophie. Agatha bit her hand. "Eee!" Sophie brayed, and flipped her body so Agatha scraped against the dirt. Agatha flipped Sophie back and climbed towards the shadow, her clump squishing Sophie's face. When my hands find your neck." They felt themselves leave the ground. Something spindly and cold wrapped its way around them. Agatha fumbled for a match from her dress, struck it against her bony wrist, and paled. The shadow was gone. They were cocooned in creepers of an elm, which ferried them up the enormous tree and plopped them on the lowest branch. Both girls glared at each other and tried to catch enough breath to speak. Agatha managed it first. "We are going home right now." The branch wobbled, coiled back like a sling, and shot them up like bullets. Before either could scream, they landed on the next branch. Agatha flailed for a new match, but the branch coiled and snapped them up to the next bough, which bounced them up to the next. "How tall is this tree?" Agatha shrieked. Ping-ponging up the branches, the girls' bodies collided and crashed, dresses tearing on thorns, twigs, faces slamming into ricocheting limbs, until finally they reached the highest bough. There at the top of the elm tree sat a giant black egg. The girls gaped at it, baffled. The egg tore open, splashing them with dark, yolky goo. As the colossal bird emerged and made only of bones, it took one look at the pair and unleashed an angry screech and rattled their eardrums. And then it grabbed them both in its claws and dove off the tree as they screamed, finally agreeing on something. The bony bird lashed through the black woods. As Agatha frantically lit match after match on the bird's ribs, giving them catches of glinting red eyes and bursting shadows, bristling shadows even, all around. Gangly trees snatched at the girls as the bird dipped and climbed to avoid them, until thunder exploded ahead and they smashed head first into a raging lightning storm. Firebolts sent the trees careening towards them, and they shielded their faces from rain and mud and timber, ducked cobwebs, beehives, and vipers, until the bird plunged into deadly briars, and the girls blanched, closing their eyes to the pain. Then it was quiet. Agatha? Agatha opened her eyes to rays of sun. She looked down and gasped. It's real! Far beneath them, 2 soaring castles sprawled across the forest. One castle glittered in sun mist, with pink and blue glass turrets over a sparkling lake. The other loomed, black and jagged, sharp spires ripping through the thunderclouds like the teeth of monsters. The school for good and evil. The bony bird drifted over to the towers of good and loosened Sophie from its claws. Agatha clutched at her friend in horror, but then saw Sophie's face glowing with happiness. "Aggie, I'm a princess!" But the bird dropped Agatha instead. Stunned, Sophie watched Agatha plummet into the pink cotton candy mist. Wait, no! The bird swooped savagely towards the towers of evil, its jaws reaching up for its new prey. "No, I'm good. It's the wrong one!" Sophie screamed, and without a beat she was dropped into hellish darkness. And that is chapter 2. See you next time. Bye!